I know, right? Because we're both like right there. Though.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Talking About It. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm trying to figure out the whole technical aspect to doing these here without my main dude Mike. So, I think we're good. I see people popping in, so thank you for joining us. So, today we are here live from Mindforward Health Center. I always If you're new, my name is Ashley, the host of Talking About It. I am chronicling or journaling, sharing my journey with you guys in real time. And this place, Dr. Ortiz, has been a major part of my healing. And the fact that I'm out of the house right now filming is kind of a big deal. So I'm not going to cry because I'm going to try to not to. But yeah, so welcome to our live here from Mindforward Health Center. We are joined by a wonderful panelist or a wonderful panel that is here to answer some of the questions that you all submitted. So we'll just get right into it. I will pass them the mic and they will go ahead and let me just do a quick check here. Is the audio good on Instagram? Like, can you guys hear well? Do I sound too loud? I think it sounds good.
Yeah.
YouTube, if you're on there too, comments. So you guys can drop comments just like you would. We'll be able to see them pop up if you have questions. So let me go ahead and have the panel introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Richard. You can just call me Rich for short. I'm from San Diego, California. I'm a social worker, an LMSW, and currently doing my clinical supervision to become an LCSW. Um, and yeah, my kind of specialty is substance use disorders and PTSD, a little bit of complex trauma. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Sammy. I am a Master's of Social Work candidate, and I am born and raised here in El Paso. I am also a clinical intern therapist here at Mindforward Health Center. I am really interested in a lot of work with childhood trauma, adverse childhood experiences, and I really like working with adults and people within the LGBTQIA community.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ortiz. It's truly an honor, and I'm probably gonna cry, Ash. So I'll probably cry. I'm very, very happy to be here. It's really exciting. Born and raised here in El Paso, I provide trauma therapy. That's my specialty and inner child related work. So it's truly an honor. I'm excited to be here, and I'm proud of Ash. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, guys. So we did get a few questions. My helper has my phone though, so hang on. All right. So we did get a few questions. And y'all, thank you for participating, for submitting questions. We really, our goal here is to open up the conversation, start the dialogue, and, you know, let you guys know that those thoughts in your head are not just only in your head. Everybody freaking has them, and you don't have to stay stuck in the struggle. You just have to find it in yourself to start doing the work. So we got different topics. Where shall we start? We got relationships, parenting,
The hardest stuff.
healing, inner child. Let's see.
Everything is interconnected.
Yes.
That's exactly it, right? So let's just go ahead and go with, I'm gonna do like the wheel, and then we'll see what we land on. Let's start with this. Right now, what do you guys see mostly here in your office? Like people struggling, the ones who seem that they have it all together. What is a common thread that you all are seeing and dealing with your different specialties?
I can start. So one thing that has been really prevalent recently, especially with a lot of my, not only my clients, but what I hear in general is a lot of anxiety, whether it be from really like maybe minor things. Well, some things that could be minor for some people. It could cause a lot of anxiety all the way down to things that could feel really overwhelming for a lot. So anxiety, overthinking, that's been really one of the biggest things that I've been noticing.
Yeah, I think anxiety is a real big one throughout children, adolescence, and growing up into adulthood. A lot of these thoughts we have in our head, especially about ourselves, 9 times out of 10 aren't really good. And then we get into this, to the second part I feel about that is coping, and how do we cope? And I think that's kind of like the caveat with it is we find ways in coping that's really not helping our symptoms, that's really not helping kind of like the setting, our environment, and we kind of get stuck in there. And the longer we are stuck in there, the harder or the more time the work is going to be put in to kind of really kind of build these new sort of practices to kind of change, to motivate the change. So yeah, and big one would be a substance use. So yeah, along with anxiety, it's like, how do we kind of cope? What do we do? So that would be kind of like the second part to that for me.
Thank you. Man, I think what I primarily see is complex trauma, right? And here in our community, we normalize certain behaviors, right? When I start assessing and meeting my clients for the first time, right, they talk about, my dad used to do this, my mom, I grew up like this, and they minimize, right? And when I provide that psycho ed to them, their eyes get wide open, right? And they're like, what do you mean that was abuse? Or what do you mean that was parentification, right? So I think a lot of normalization, right, with childhood trauma, we tend to dismiss that, and we normalize certain behaviors. And then what happens is that if you were exposed to those behaviors, typically you repeat those, right, in relationships, and everything is interconnected, right? Yeah.
100%. I've been seeing a lot of posts, and I'm all over Facebook. I don't really post on Facebook, but I like to see what's on there. And a lot of the threads are, my kids don't listen, they don't communicate well, they don't, all of these things. And they're like, my 6-year-old needs therapy or my 9-year-old needs therapy. And my first thought is, do they? Because like you said, you're repeating these patterns. We get stuck in a cycle and you're repeating these patterns. I made a post today of acknowledging your inner child. And thanks to you, Dr. Ortiz, we've done work on the inner child. And I feel like that is key, because if you were to put yourself in your kids' shoes when they're not listening or anything like that, and you kind of think back to your childhood, you are able to like see patterns, and then you're like, oh shit, like, and so I think that everything is interconnected, and it's important that we realize that your child might not be the only one that needs therapy. It has to start with us as parents, as adults. We have lost our way of accountability somewhere, and I don't think that that is healthy. I think that we need to bring accountability back. You had these children, you need to be responsible for them. And in order to do that, you need to take the steps to work on yourself. Not only to be a better parent, but to be a better partner, right? And I think that what the three of you are saying is everything is so interconnected that like you have to hit every space or whatever. You talk a little bit about addiction. It's like we get these coping mechanisms, right? For me, it was alcohol. Alcohol since I was like a teenager. We used to go to
Yeah.
Juarez and party like freshman year,
Yeah.
Healing and being sober is like a whole different thing. Like it's crazy. Like just to go anywhere, I would have to like take some shots just
Yeah.
to be like where I wasn't shaky
Yeah.
and I could feel like comfortable, right? So with you specializing or working with like addiction and things like that, what do you feel is the first thing that people who might be struggling with it but kind of avoiding it
Yeah. Yeah.
could do?
So when it comes to kind of like your journey, whether it's healing, whether you're trying to promote good communication in your relationship, any sort of aspect in life, you really need to it's 2 steps. It's working on that, but also being sober, and not using the substance, and maybe taking a break from it. And that's the part that's really hard, because substances in America are very, very normalized, and especially alcohol. Alcohol is the legal drug in America, and it's really tough to tell someone or ask them, "Do you think you have a problem with this?" Because then, these substances were made and were tweaked for us to like it, to give that sort of dopamine and serotonin to the brain, and be like, yes, whether we're hanging out with our best friend, whether we're having a cookout, whether we're at a family gathering, something is there and it's used and it's normalized. Drugs are what you view as normalized. So that's the hardest part, is understanding your use and how it affects you. Like if you need shots, or if you need something to kind of calm you down, or if it's just such a built-in pattern and routine, you need to kind of like take a step back and really think like, what's so hard for me to live sober? What's the hardest part about that? And why am I using it in what situations? And that's really hard, because again, we like it. You like it, right?
Yeah. The numbness.
And
You
yeah,
like the numbness because you're not feeling it. You're avoiding all of these things, right? And
Oh,
it just
yeah.
allows you to avoid. And
Yeah.
addiction can be drugs. It can
Mhm.
be running. It can be food. It can be
Yeah.
all of these different things that we throw ourselves. It could be work. It
Mhm.
can be relationships. It can be all of these things. So y'all, when we're talking about addiction and things like that, I want you to not think only drugs. Like, oh, well, I don't have a drinking problem. No, but is there something in your life that you are like hyper focused on and you're using it as, what do you call that? Escape?
escape, a way out.
Yeah, if you're using it for that, then that's something to like internalize, think about, maybe write something down. What would you suggest somebody who is hearing
If-
this right now?
If you feel there's a void, a gap in your heart, right? And you're using something to kind of fill that gap, fill that void, I would say start there. Acceptance. Yeah, that's the hardest part. Is we don't want to accept kind of like the bad, but you have to. Yes. Yeah.
Another thing to add is just, especially with what everyone's been mentioning, especially with addiction, it's a way to numb, it's a way to avoid feeling those really difficult feelings that tend to come up, whether it be in social events, if something, you had a hard day at work or you got some bad news, sit in that discomfort. In today's society, we're so quick, especially like, for example, our phones, to distract ourselves. Substances is a way to allow ourselves to distract ourselves, to not feel all those feelings. Allow yourself to sit in that discomfort. Allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. That's the only way to be able to overcome something challenging, is to actually face it. And that means feeling it.
100%. Dr. Ortiz, look at you, just like a mama bear over here looking like, you know, talk about sitting in discomfort. I am so uncomfortable right now.
You're doing
I'm
great.
nervous, but you know, we're still here and we're doing it. And so that, you know, when I say exposure therapy, like a motherfucker, like I've always been one to just go hard in the paint, whatever it is. Like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So this is a type of exposure therapy. So if you see me moving around a lot, if you see the camera kind of fussing, I apologize. This is very new for me, and I am kind of just going with emotions. And my whole purpose is to show you that you can be healing. You can feel uncomfortable. You can have a pit in your stomach, and you're okay. So just a heads up. If you see me moving and just all random, please know that it's just my nerves, and I apologize for that. Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to you guys. Thank you to everybody who has joined in on Instagram. There's a little bit of a delay, so I apologize if there's questions popping up and I'm not seeing them. But yeah, so okay. This is cool. Let me hit on. So we talked about the addiction, the coping, the avoiding, acceptance. I talked a little bit about shadow work. I didn't even know what shadow work was. Somebody said the comment to me, and I haven't even brought it up to you yet to ask you, because we've been just doing some work. Yeah, when I say we are doing work, we are like diving into hard work. And you might see, if you follow me regularly, you might see rants coming a little bit more regularly. And they're rants solely because I believe in you guys. I believe in every single person who is struggling. I believe in people's abilities to carry so much shit. And I believe that you all deserve to be happy. I believe that you all deserve to just be living your best life, not just your Instagram life, your profiles, your beautiful pictures and beautiful family, but like deep down, I want you to be happy. And I think that it's attainable. So you'll see me going on these rants where I'm frustrated, because it just takes little steps, guys, little steps. So this is why we're going to continue to do this, is because it's important that you guys see that there is help available. There is resources available. You just have to take the time to do it. I'm going to just knock it out right now, because we got like, I would say 5 questions about insurance and affordability. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be an Ash rant for a couple of seconds. Some people will go out to a bar and spend hundreds of dollars. Some people will go to Starbucks every day, all day. some people will do all of these things,
Shopping therapy.
or whatever it is. And y'all, therapy is pretty affordable. And if you have insurance, it's affordable. So I'm going to pass over to Dr. Ortiz. And we did get questions about affordability, sliding scale, insurance, no insurance. So let's hear from you.
Absolutely. Yes, I cannot agree with you on that comment more. We accept mostly all health insurances, Medicaid, Medicare, and private health insurances as well. When we open up the clinic, I'm a clinical social worker, right? So for me, my community matters. And we decided to create like an initiative, right? Where individuals without health insurance would be able to pay out of pocket something affordable. We started off with $30 and now we have sessions for $50, starting off at 50, 75, and then it goes up depending on the level of experience and licensure. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, and that's not because they're here with me, but we have great clinicians, right? We have people here that truly, truly love what they do. And you're going to be in great hands. Whoever you get assigned to, you are going to be in great hands. I know that we all have different specialties, but we would be able to work with you with insurance or without health insurance. That was one of the main reasons why we opened the clinic, to offer affordability and accessibility more than anything. Here in El Paso, we have waiting lists of 2, 3, 6 months even. So here at the clinic, you are able to see someone within that week.
And you guys also do virtual?
Yes.
You do virtual? Because that's what I do. I do virtual. I've only been here once before. So, virtual is important. So it's very affordable. You guys can take advantage. All right. Anybody else want to say anything about the affordability or insurance? Oh, actually, hold on. One more thing.
Okay.
So can you explain, because I know we talked about this when we did one before with me and you, but what the clinical clinical interns, what
Yes.
their role is and how, so if somebody comes in to see one of them, what would they expect? Because I know if it was me from the beginning when I was starting and you were to tell me I was going to be working with somebody who was a clinical intern, I'd be like, seriously, I can't see the doctor. And that would have been me before, and until working with you, Dr. Ortiz, personally, in the healing journey, and then being able to see your classes, see your classes, your teaching. I mean, this genuinely is what we want people to be taking advantage of, because they're learning from somebody who is so knowledgeable, who truly knows how to help, and you want people to teach that skill to somebody else. So, Dr. Ortiz, can you just clarify exactly, or maybe give a little bit more of an explanation?
Absolutely. And I know that can be somewhat confusing, right? So our clinical interns, I'm going to use Sammy as an example. Bright student. She's graduating in May with her master's degree. All of the clinical interns that we have here are master's level students. They're graduating within the 1 year or so. And they go through an extensive interviewing process. The ones that are here at the clinic, I select them because I know that they're passionate and they're going to take care of our clients in our community. That's one of the requirements for sure. And clinical interns, they're going to be under my supervision. Once they graduate, they're going to become licensed in the state of Texas, and then they're going to pursue their license. Mr. Rich here, he was an intern many, 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 many moons ago, right? And now he's under clinical supervision. He's teaching at EPCC as well. He forgot to mention that. So we have brilliant people here working with us, providing great services, quality services. And once he gets his clinical license, he's going to be able to practice independently without any supervision. And that's the plan for Sammy as well.
Perfect. You see, y'all, it's not like you guys are just getting anybody. You guys are getting quality therapists or clinical interns who are already doing big things, already teaching. They're just a matter of getting these certifications. And if you all have like one friend that you go to for advice all the time, just just know that they're not trained to help you in some of these coping skills or shadow work or anything like that. And so coming to see one of these guys is going to be much more beneficial. All right. So next question.
Drinking my delicious coffee.
Relationships. Oh, sorry. I clicked on something and it popped up. Relationships and patterns. Let's talk about relationships because a lot of this shows up in a bunch of things. We'll go with, why do I keep going back to the same type of person even when I know that they're not right for me?
That's very, very typical to see in our community. We are gravitating towards what we know, and we're trying to heal that with different people. Right? So the level of relationship or the relationship that we accept, that equals your self-esteem. Right? So that stems from relationships that we witnessed and what we went through when we were little. And I know we don't do it consciously, right? But we seek what is familiar, what resembles more with our attachment style. And even though we know, right, like Ash, like that question, even though I know it's not healthy, that's what my nervous system knows, right?
So it goes back to kind of what was being mentioned earlier with kind of repeating patterns. It's also can be known as generational trauma. As Dr. Ortiz was mentioning, we gravitate towards what we're essentially used to. We are products of who we were as children. That's who we are as adults. That's how we show up as adults. Yeah, we're bigger. Yeah, we have more complex thoughts. But deep down, we're still children trying to navigate the world and trying to find love, trying to find acceptance, trying to find someone who will essentially complete us, right? And a lot of times we tend to repeat certain behaviors and patterns that we see maybe our parents doing. So, for example, if we have parents that maybe you would witness them fighting a lot, maybe it was just like yelling a lot, that tends to show up as an adult as well in your relationships because that's how you learned how to manage conflict, through yelling. And it's just going back to actually looking at like, okay, so what is it that I really need? What is a communication style that works for me and allows me to express myself in a way that helps me stay regulated? But that does take a lot of work. It takes acknowledging what you went through, acknowledging what you experienced and witnessed, and seeing how that's being reflected as an adult.
Yeah, I'm really big on you got to get out of your comfort zone and you got to accept that. Again, same shit, different face, and it's just, at what point do you kind of acknowledge yourself as a priority to kind of like, okay, I need to get out of this environment where I'm was hanging around or being around, or these certain types of people, and I want to kind of, try the nice guy and just get to know that, you know we're really not patient people. Especially in, I think, the society today, where we want immediate gratification now. We want it to work out for us, and it's going to work out for us right now. And with these sort of relationships, probably like the man, one of the biggest like complexities in life, right? Happiness in that aspect is like you kind of have to let it grow, and you kind of have to be okay with um letting something different kind of prosper, so I mean, and because going back to the same thing, there's a beautiful quote, is like, you can't get better in the same place that makes you sick. So at some point, you got to be okay being out of your comfort zone and just maybe navigating that, you know
And to your point, that can be your head.
oh
Yeah.
Right? Like, that can be, I don't know if they can hear that, but that can be your head. So, next question. case we have a question. I don't know if you want. Should I talk on the mic? Can you guys hear me on Instagram if I'm not on the mic? Or like directly in it? I'll just put my mom voice on. Okay. If I go to therapy to solve an issue or heal from trauma, are you going to solve that problem for me and tell me what to do?
Absolutely not.
No, no.
Do not know what to do. And that's another
Misconception,
right?
yeah.
We hear that often, right? We hear that. They probably can hear me too. I'm using my mom's voice too. That's another misconception, right? That we hear often, like, oh, this is something that I'm going through, relationships, especially, right? But like, what should I do? Should I stay or should I go? We cannot tell you what to do, right? We are gonna process, we're gonna dissect it, we're gonna dig deeper, we're gonna understand your attachment style, your parenting style, your wounds, what's working for you, what's not, right? We conduct what it's called a biopsychosocial assessment. And then we're gonna come up with options, right? Pros and cons. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. We provide unconditional support, meaning that we're not gonna tell you what to do.
We don't give advice. We're not going to tell you to leave him or her. We're going to give you a space to talk about this person, talk about what is it in this relationship, what it's bringing up, what it relates to from growing up. But again, we don't give advice. We just give you the space to open up in a way that maybe you might not be able to open up to anybody else. So kind of what was being mentioned, talking with a friend, you know, our friends will tell us, oh, just leave this person. They're no good for you. And yeah, no, they never do, because it doesn't work, because it's not addressing the root cause. What therapy is, it's actually going down and doing that inner work and actually identifying why am I gravitating towards this person, this type of person? Why is it that I allow this type of person to do X, Y, and Z? It's figuring that out, figuring out more of yourself, and figuring out what it is that you want out of a relationship and what you want a relationship to look like. Again, we don't give advice. That's the biggest thing. We do not give advice.
We provide you with a safe environment with no judgment, right? And I always talk about how important it is for you to trust your provider. And if you ever had any bad experiences, I apologize on behalf of all therapists. But if you had a bad experience, please keep shopping around, right? Please find someone that is the right fit for you, because some people are not a good fit, right? And that's perfectly fine. But please find someone that you're comfortable with, someone that you are not only able to be fully honest, but to be yourself, and you know that they're not going to judge you, right? That when you walk out of that office, you have good coping skills, you know that you have a clear understanding and you have something to work with.
It's like friendships. You're not going to be friends with everybody. It's the same thing with therapists. Not every therapist is going to be the right fit for you. Sometimes you might have to shop around different therapists, see one that maybe allows you to give you that space, or maybe has specializes in things that you specifically are struggling with. But it's not a one size fits all. Therapy is not a one size fits all. It's sometimes you have to look around. Sometimes you might find therapists that maybe just don't work with you, and it has nothing to do with you. It may not have anything to do with them, or it might, but we never know. It's important to keep trying. Again, you're not going to be everybody's friend. You're not going to like everybody, and it's the same thing with therapists.
Lastly, I would just add, look at therapy as an invitation for yourself, an invitation to kind of like do introspection, an invitation to talk about things that, you know, you're talking to a stranger, and this person doesn't judge you, that doesn't have an agenda. And I think to be a therapist, I'm pretty sure we've all been through some shit ourselves, so we can kind of yeah. So so it's an invitation on yourself. It's an investment on you. And if you find a therapist that's judging you or really telling you what to do, run. Yeah, that's not the person. You just want that invitation to insight, introspection, and an investment on you. That's all I would add on that.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, just to can you hear me now on YouTube? Yeah, I think just to they teach us, they guide us. They can't do it for us. Piggybacking on relationships. I'm in a long-term relationship. This isn't my question. I'm reading a question. I always have to clarify.
Yeah, clarity is what we all need.
Because,
Yeah.
No, I'm just making sure this is not my these again. Honestly, guys, I don't really hit a lot on relationships because I'm focusing the journey on me, because I think in order to be a better partner, you have to do the work on yourself. But just a shout out to my husband. He has been there through thick and thin. He has just he's just always been supportive of me, and we by no means have a perfect marriage. We have had our struggles, we have had our ups and downs, but we have a common goal, and that is to be the best parents to our children, to do things differently than what we grew up in, and just that we love each other. And so again, this isn't for me, but I do think this is a very important question, and even people who have been in long-term relationships can relate to. How do you know if you're growing apart or just going through a rough season? How can couples reconnect when they feel disconnected?
I think a good place to start is, it's not what you're getting, it's who you're becoming. I feel like, you with relationships, it's also an investment, right? But at some point, we have to kind of, we're two individuals, and we kind of are wanting to share. We're wanting to compromise, right? We're wanting to kind of just have all these sort of things and share together as life. But at some point, you're on your own journey, right? And you have to ask that question. You have to pose it. It's not what I'm getting from this, but who am I really becoming? And you really need to, what's your goal personally? What do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? And I think if you ask yourself that question and you kind of say, well, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to become, and then there's this sort of aspect of my life, right? That is my relationship, my marriage, what have you. And is it growing with me? Or is it just, what am I doing? I feel alone, and all these other sort of doubts and insecurities. You need to kind of go in that. But who are you becoming?
That's a really great point, and to kind of touch on that as well, especially with long-term relationships, the person who you are when you first go into that relationship, you're not going to be the same person 5, 10, 15 years down the line. You're going to be a completely different person. With relationships, the goal is to have someone who will support growth, who will be there for you, who wants to grow with you, who wants to experience different things from you. And that's why we know with relationships, it's never easy. Relationships can be difficult. It's bringing in two people with two completely different upbringings, two completely different experiences, and bringing them together to share life. And so growth is natural, and growth allows us to become the people who we want to be, right? That's the goal, to make sure that we're becoming who we want to be. And if you're in a relationship and you feel like the person I'm with is no longer the person I fell in love with, or maybe they're different, that's something to look into. See, okay, what does that mean for me? What does that look like for me? Am I growing? Are they allowing me to grow? And then do that inner work and see where maybe there might be some things, that maybe some gaps that need to be filled, or have that open communication with your partner and say hey, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. How are you feeling about this? It's collaborating, it's communication, and it's just continuous growth.
Just to add on to that, there was something on here about creating a safe space. How do you create a safe space within the relationship? in order to have that conversation that Sammy was talking about?
That's a really good question. It boils down to communication. We, as much as we like to sometimes mind read, we're not mind readers. We will not know how another person is feeling until we just simply ask them. And that's what allows us to be able to create those safe spaces with our partners. It allows us to be able, like, for example, if there's maybe something that your partner says that really maybe activates something in you in a negative way, the only way your partner will know that that's something that might have bothered you is by communicating that, like saying like, hey, like what you said, like I understand maybe you didn't mean to come across that way, but it made me feel a certain way. I felt that, you know, using your I statement, saying like, I felt that this was said, maybe that's not how you meant it, but I feel like this. It brought up this for me. It's having that communication. Because again, without that communication, your partner's not going to know if something is affecting you. And if they don't know what's affecting you, then that behavior is going to continue, and it could end up causing that feeling of I don't feel safe with this person, or I don't feel like I could be myself with this person.
Yes. Look at you, just so proud. No, yeah, I think it's very important. And I know, guys, we were scheduled to do like an hour, so I think that we've hit like really good, strong points. The big questions that people were asking that I saw kind of multiples of. Is there anything that you all would like to add just on your own? Maybe for somebody who doesn't know where to start to get the first step of help. Maybe just advice, not advice because you guys don't give advice, but like suggestions. There you go, Nana. Suggestions on what they can do to take the first steps. And I will echo the whole thing. When one person is healing and the other is not, it makes it kind of difficult. So it does make it important that you guys have open communication so that you can find some type of common ground. So I'm going to pass the mics back over to them and let them kind of give one last final thought. I'm trying to see here if I can remove this black camera.
Therapists and clinics here in El Paso. Mindforward is the best. but just if you're getting those outcomes and consequences and you don't like them, again, you should probably take us on that invitation.
For me, I would say something that's very common with therapy is I don't need therapy. I'm okay. I've been going on so long without it. I'm fine. But everybody could benefit from talking to someone objective, someone who will not put judgment on past decisions you've made, current decisions, the way that you feel. At least, you know, of course they shouldn't, but that's what therapy is. It's just it's a space for you to be vulnerable, and that is scary. Vulnerability is so scary. But that's what allows you to, again, to allow to look into yourself and identify portions of you that maybe you want to improve a little bit. And with therapy, I like to say it's very 80-20, where 20% of the work is in therapy. 20% is looking at the inner child work. 20% is looking into those scary things, having to recall maybe some scary events, go deep into our thoughts about things that maybe we have locked in, that's just 20%. The 80% is what you do outside of therapy, the work that you do, whether it's journaling, whether it's physical activity, whether it's self-care. That is where the true work comes in. Therapy is scary, but it's the 20% that allows you to open your mind to the way that you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and the 80% is putting in the work for yourself and only for yourself.
I'm so proud of you guys. I agree. I think going to therapy, it can be, and we have a lot of stigma still in our community, right? Like, I'm not going to go to therapy because they're going to think I'm crazy, or what are they going to say? Like, if they see me walking out. But I think as a community, I'm so thankful because we're doing a lot of community outreach. We're through different organizations, right? We're trying to promote that and increase self-awareness and awareness related to mental health. So I would say that if you're considering and thinking about going to therapy, just try it out. Try it out. Go and meet with someone, because that's the best way to know, right? And sometimes I have male clients, females, right? And sometimes my male clients, right, they're like, I didn't know that was something, right? And it's so hard for them, right, to be talking about vulnerability, like Sammy was mentioning, right? But offering that safe space for them by processing things, dissecting them, and being human as well, right? Your therapist should not be a robot, by the way. Like, we don't want to remain stoic, right? We want to be human as well, because most of us have gone through things as well, right? So you want to have a human therapist, right? Because this is not a power dynamic. This is a collaboration. A question that Ash, if I may, showed me, EMDR. EMDR is an evidence-based practice that we use here at the clinic. It stands for eye movement desensitization. Make sure that you have good coping skills, like Rich and Sammy were mentioning, right? We make sure that you ground yourself. We make sure that you're able to regulate. Because what happens with the MDR, we're going to bring up everything up to your awareness from here to here, right? And we're going to be talking about things that were traumatizing, things that you went through that affected you when you were younger, a year ago, 6 months ago, that are not letting you function at work, with your family, interpersonal relationships, and most importantly, with yourselves. After you desensitize, we don't have the power to hypnotize you or anything like that, but through EMDR, we can desensitize the trauma. What that means is that you're going to think about a car accident that maybe would paralyze you, and you're like, right? And I'm unable to drive. I don't like to drive. But after EMDR, you're going to be like, well, I went through that, but I don't feel nothing. That's how we know when we healed. That's how you know that, okay, I went through an accident, but it's only a memory. It's not taking over your life anymore. No, it's a long answer.
No, that was a good answer. And I'm gonna start EMDR, right? That's kind of the goal. That's what we're working to. I'm afraid to do it. So once I start and I go, then I'll bring you all along on that journey with me. But y'all, thank you. Did everybody go? Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in today for this hour of talking about it live. I know you can't see me. I'm your girls over here just kind of trying to get it together. This is new for me. This is exposure therapy. You basically witnessed exposure therapy. What would you call it? Exercise. I don't know how I did. But I in vivo, right? But I don't know how I did. I just really, y'all, am trying to show you that we can all do this together, alone, together. It's kind of a weird thing. But yeah, so please share our profiles for Mindforward Health Center. There you can follow them on their website. Just continue to share the post. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. This episode will also be, you can go back and listen to the recording. I appreciate you all. Dr. Ortiz, Sammy, Rich. Thank you all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much. And thank you. And remember, keep on talking about the hard things so you can start to enjoy the good things. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.